welcome back to the program. You're watching Morning Thailand with Phai and Golf, and today we have a lot of issues to update, obviously. But first thing first, of course, the political situation at this point. We heard about the court verdict. We talked about the court verdict. Now, yesterday, Pheu Thai party, and 20 of its members, just to be exact, came out and say that, you know what, whatever the verdict was from the Constitutional Court, well, we're not accepting it. So it was quite interesting at this point, I would say, because obviously prior to anticipation, I remember correctly that the Prime Minister has also talked about whatever the verdict was. She was kind of have a same idea in terms of when we were waiting for the verdict from the work court, that whatever the Constitutional Court has come up with, they would, listen to, and obviously trying to, at this point, the Prime Minister has already talked about the team trying to interpret what the verdict, the Constitutional Court verdict was about, just the same as the verdict from the work court. So I thought that was quite interesting as well. However, Pheu Thai party yesterday issued a statement to condemn Constitutional Court's ruling on the amendment bill that related to senators, and they call this as a coup, almost. That's what they say. Now, the statement have 9 points altogether that they have about this. They say that the first one, the 312 MPs sponsored the charter amendment bill on the Senate's composition, which is meaning that the Senate selection that has been changed. They say that it was based on the principle that the ruling mandate belongs to the people. So as a result, the parliamentarians must be elected in accordance with the principle of 1997 charter, which was the people's constitution. So they are trying to say that the constitution that we have right now, it was after the coup. So they did not want to accept it. Now, the second point is Article 291 of Constitution clearly states that the power to amend the charter belongs to the parliament. And Article 291 prohibits only two changes, which are the change of the ruling system from the constitutional monarchy and the change of forms of government. So they say that the amendment on the composition on this particular case has nothing to do with those two prohibited changes. Therefore, there's nothing wrong with what they have done. Now, the third one is Constitutional Court intentionally abused its authority by violating the Constitution by deciding to review it in the first place. So by accepting the petition from the opposition party, that was wrong to begin with. And the fourth one, talking about how the Constitutional Court cited the rule of law in making the ruling, but in doing so, the court interpreted and expanded its own power more than what actually stated on the Constitution. So once again, the court has no right to rule. The fifth one was talking about the rule of law that was done without proper ground. So once again, talking about the court did not cite how the international practice was done, and Constitutional Court judges themselves does not respect the principle. So at this point, once again, talking about how this not going to have any ground. The sixth one, talking about it was extreme dangerous for democracy when the court claimed that the amendment bill violated several articles of Constitution because the judges themselves abused their authority outside the Constitution's scope. So once again. The seventh one, talking about the court clearly interfere with the power of legislative branch by ruling that the deliberation process of the bill violated the meeting regulations of the parliament. And the eighth one, talking about after the parliament passed the bill in the third reading and Prime Minister submitted that bill already, the next step will depend on whether the king will approve the bill. So it's not for the Constitutional Court to actually rule on it. And the last one, talking about that it would have been fine has the Constitution authorized the Constitutional Court to check the work of parliamentarians. But technically, there's no such thing. So they don't have any ground. So a lot of the points that are in the statement that were released yesterday, talking about the fact that the court has no right to rule whatsoever.
It is getting really complex these days because various people from opposite sides talk about what they believe.
It's true. And I don't know what to believe anymore, obviously, because when you talk about legal system and legal terms, it's hard to understand and interpret, and it got very confusing. So at this point, That was a statement yesterday. You can read it in Nation. The Nation has it. So, just go and check it out if you want more detail on it.
And with that, even though some Pheu Thai MPs have come out to deny the court's ruling, the particular verdict of the Constitutional Court has already brought more problems here for them. Because yesterday the students and People Network for Thailand's Reform, or the students and rally goers who gather at the Makawan Rangsan Bridge, have been to the National Anti-Corruption Commission, or the NACC, filing a petition against the House Speaker Kun Somsak Kitsuranont, Senate Speaker Kun Nikom Wayarat Phanit, and 312 other parliamentarians for this particular accusation. They said that the petition was submitted to the NACC by the coordinator Kun Uthai Yotmani and the group's legal advisor Kun Phuongtip Bunsanong. The group alleged that the Prime Minister Kun Yingluck Shinawatra, the Parliament President Kun Somsak and Kun Nikom, and also 312 MPs and senators who proposed the charter amendment on the composition of the Senate had wrongfully carried out their duty. The petition was submitted to the Deputy Secretary General of the NACC, who said that they will examine all the documents submitted and verify them later on. But at this point, 5 impeachment petitions have been submitted, and the NACC ruled to combine the 5 into one single case. In the first petition, a group of 3 senators requested for criminal proceedings against 308 MPs and senators for the lapse of duty by sponsoring the amendment. The second one was related to the wrongful voting proceedings, in which certain MPs used the electronic cards for their fellow lawmakers to cast votes in their absence. The third one was submitted by the Democrat, requesting the impeachment of Parliament Speaker Kun Somsak Kitsuranont on ground of the lapse supervision of the voting procedures. The fourth petition, filed by the Democrat MPs as well, requested for the impeachment of Senate Speaker Kun Nikom Wayarat Phanit in his capacity as the Vice Parliament President, charging the same offense involving Kun Somsak. And the last one, the petition filed by a number of senators, made the same request as the fourth one. So that's all the movement of various groups. And there's also the update from the Parliament session yesterday as well, the move by the Democrat Party, who tried to file a motion of no confidence in the
So
Parliament.
did they get it?
Yes, at around 2:40 yesterday, Kun Somsak Kitsuranont has already accepted the censure motion from the Democrat Party. He said that the Democrat should submit the impeachment motion by this Monday, and they will talk about the date for the censure debate again. He said they will let the 2 whips, this is Kun Jurin Laksana Visit from the opposition whip, and the Pheu Thai, the government whip, to talk again on which date there will be a censure debate. Kun Jurin and also the Democrat Party said that would take around no longer than 3 days.
Okay, well, we'll see, because oftentimes it takes a lot longer. And plus, I thought that, Kun Somsak changed his mind a little bit, because technically, before he said that if the opposition party did not submit the document, it's not going to be on the table. So I guess he's trying to be a little bit more lenient and provide a little bit more time.
And he said it should be finished by November the 28th, which is the last day of the normal parliament session. So we're going to see some more firing of words and comments in the parliament once again. And yesterday there were some comments from veteran MP Kun Chalem Yubamrong.
Of course.
Because yesterday there was a normal parliament session debate, and Kun Wachara Phetong, the Democrat MP, has asked Kun Pracha Promnok, Deputy Prime Minister, about Kun Chalem Yubamrong's involvement in the project the plan to control and to monitor the protesters, because earlier Kun Pracha has been tasked to overlook the incident and also the protest incident. However, Kun Chalem has come out and said that he would be manning the war room, because Kun Yingluck, the Prime Minister, has already told him herself that she will be appointing him to overlook the situation.
Yeah, I'm worried about his health too, though. Don't forget, he just came out from a very quite severe illness. Anyway, let's take a short break because, of course, when we come back, Kun Chen going to talk a little bit in terms of what will happen to all those lawmakers after the NACC has already take out these charges. So please stay tuned.